Apparently, this white tiger decided to hit on the lioness, but she did not appreciate the attentions and responded with a series of powerful blows with clawed paws on the muzzle. The tiger is bigger and more massive, but he had to not just fall behind, but run in panic from an angry cat. And we will show you other cases of unexpectedly fierce resistance in the natural world. Action from the first second. The lion furiously attacked the competitor and grabbed his head. But this was a big mistake. The aggressor underestimated the enemy. Even from a recumbent position, the second lion managed to repel the enemy. He withstood the first attack, was able to dodge the most dangerous blows, and then overwhelmed the aggressor by throwing him over his shoulder. And it looks like a judo move. The lion who started the fight clearly did not expect such knowledge of martial arts from his opponent. Now the aggressor is lying on the ground and trying his best to avoid terrible wounds and fatal blows. The mane protects the lion's throat from bites, but any defense has its own strength limit. A terrible roar is heard throughout the area, while the enraged lions inflict crushing blows on each other and dig their claws and fangs into the opponent's body, head, and limbs. Pay attention to how they combine bites with the use of their hind legs. This is possible only during a fight in the stalls, when both opponents are on their backs or on their sides. Pulling the opponent towards him, the aggressor begins to tear him with the claws of his hind paws. It was the only chance to escape, because the lion, skilled in defense, is already on top, already biting his paw, beating and reaching with his fangs to the throat of the aggressor. The one who started the fight is forced to go on the defensive. But the lion, who managed to defend himself after the first terrible attack, does not want to be left with a broken jaw or without an eye. Therefore, he releases the aggressor. When the lions realize that they will not be able to finish the fight quickly in this position, they jump up and begin to glare at each other and intimidate with growls. How coolly, fiercely, and effectively the lion was able not only to fight back against the aggressor, but also to pile on him deserves your like, doesn't it? A river otter was dozing peacefully on the beach when it was spotted by a jaguar. It is one of the most formidable predators of the New World and has a 4 times more powerful bite than a lion. The jaguar rushes at the otter and squeezes it with its paws, hoping for an easy victory. But an unpleasant surprise awaits him. It seems that the otter is a living liquid. Even trapped by the claws and fangs of the enemy, she reacts instantly, twists, and bites the jaguar right in the nose. This is a sensitive area on the cat's body, its pain point. An otter bite may not be particularly dangerous, but it causes terrible pain. Shocked by such a rebuff, the jaguar releases its prey. And relatives are already rushing to help the otter, so the spotted predator has to retreat. Both lions and hyenas often feed on carrion and look for it at the first opportunity. This is reasonable because such a meal does not need to be procured. It is already ready. And although the quality of the meat is not the best, the predator does not expend energy on its prey, so it wins. But when these lions found a huge carcass for their lunch, they did not take into account whose territory they were really in. This reservoir has already been captured by a hippopotamus, and contacting him wasn't the best idea. Hippos are aggressive territorial animals, which is atypical for herbivores. In general, these are unusual creatures. They feed only on plant food, but have terrible fangs as long as an adult man's arm. Such teeth are needed by hippos not for the sake of hunting, but in order to loosen the soil. But the fangs can also bite the lion's torso without problems because the hippopotamus has such a powerful bite and a huge jaw that the beast is able to sink motorboats. The lions clearly underestimated this beast, or thought that the lack of aggression towards the hippopotamus guaranteed its loyalty. The predators were wrong anyway. A hippopotamus can be provoked not even by an attack, but by the very presence of a predator. A giant weighing about 3 tons attacks a whole group of lions, and the predator simply scatter in different directions. Perhaps they could pose a danger to such an opponent, but the hippopotamus would take 1 lioness at least with him. and the pride does not need these losses, and the lions are retreating. That same night, unsuspecting hyenas approach the carcasses. It is rare when these vicious and cruel predators are pitted. Well, now is just such a case. The hippopotamus seems to appear out of the ground and scatter the hyenas that dared to disturb it. The hippopotamus does not need a carcass that could be gnawed by scavengers here, but he simply does not allow carnivorous animals to feed here on principle. It seems that hyenas deliberately behave as modestly as possible and show the hippo that they are not going to attack it. But the giant does not care. If he decided to leave the predators hungry, then they will not see that food, at least on his territory. The springbuck is one of the fastest animals in the world. The peculiarity of this type of ungulates is the ability to move with sharp and incredibly fast jumps. A springbuck can literally jump over a predator and calmly run on. However, these animals should not have neglected the lions. Although these predators are significantly inferior to them in speed, they are able to coordinate their actions well and hunt in well-coordinated teams, in which some lionesses distract, some attack directly, and the male lion covers his girlfriends. The springbucks allow the lionesses to surround themselves. Ungulates underestimated the agility of the predatory cats. One of them ran against the herd. Those ungulates that were right in front of her were too fast and easily broken away. But the lioness did not attack them, but those springbucks who were immediately behind. The optimal timing of the attack allowed one of the lionesses to get within striking distance. The ungulate did not expect this, but demonstrated its unique maneuverability. However, the springbuck did not manage to leave. At a key moment, he stumbled and fell right in the front of the predator. The herbivore jumped to its feet with lightning speed, but the lioness is too agile to miss such a chance. He easily knocks the victim down and finishes her off. Pay attention to how the lion jumps on the prey, as if he is bragging to the lionesses that he can also jump very high. They didn't seem to appreciate this. What do you think? This bear cub is no longer small at all. He weighs like a young wolf. However, it is still far from reaching its maximum dimensions. Although the teenage bear already walks separately from its mother, explores the world, and even hunts, the female still looks after her offspring. However, the bear cub was alone now and noticed a lynx. In other circumstances, the cat would hide from such a stranger, but the den with kittens is very close. The bear cub does not know who it is dealing with and attacks the lynx, which distracts the insatiable predator to protect its cubs. I mean, this is some real drama, isn't it? Fortunately, the fight between these ferocious beasts looks more comical than cruel. The lynx and the bear exchange powerful blows, roll on the ground, bite each other, and try to strangle each other, but none of them really gets any serious harm done. Even a young teenage bear is 1.5 times more massive than a lynx. His thick layer of subcutaneous fat protects him from the fangs and claws of a cat that cannot effectively squeeze the throat. On the other hand, the bear is still quite inexperienced, and the lynx easily avoids serious hits from his blows even in close combat. The agility of the lynx and the strength of the bear seem to balance each other out, and as a result, the opponents turn out to be absolutely equal. Moreover, although the fight lasted for several minutes, neither the lynx nor the bear has any wounds. It is not known how this clash would have ended if it had lasted any longer. But an angry bear arrived at the sounds of the struggle. A huge female is 10 times more massive than a lynx and can literally drive an opponent into the ground. If she catches him, of course. But the cat breaks out of the bear's embrace with lightning speed and easily hides from less agile opponents. It remains to be hoped that the kittens will also be safe. However, this will be a lesson for the bear cub. Even if the opponent is smaller, this does not mean that it will be easy to cope with him. If not for the mother's help, the lynx could still defeat the enemy, especially since he posed a real threat to her kittens. And how do you think this duel would have ended if it hadn't been for the intervention of the bear? Answer in the comments. We are interested to know your opinion. The polar bear is the largest land predator on the planet. On his hind legs, he will rise to such a height that he will be able to look into the windows of the second floor. With one blow, such a predator is able to break the spine of a reindeer. This hungry bear walks along the icebound shore in search of food. The beast knows about its strength and immediately rushes into battle as soon as it notices potential prey. Polar bears literally take large seals out of the water, attack elephant seals, which weigh more than 1 ton on the social network, swim well, and run fast, despite their huge mass. Do you think the bear victim has no chance, no matter who she is? Probably. The predator also has such a high opinion of himself, but does not really know who he is dealing with. The walrus is a very dangerous animal. If a polar bear weighs a little less than half a ton, but a walrus weighs twice as much, that is more than a ton. In principle, the predator successfully copes with sea elephants, which are even larger and more massive. But here the bear has a serious obstacle on the way to a hearty lunch. Fangs. The huge teeth with which the walrus can split small ice floes are weapons that should not be neglected whatsoever. A very thick layer of subcutaneous fat of the walrus will withstand the first few blows of even an adult bear, and then the fangs of the pinniped will open the predator and pierce its belly. When the bear realized that such a result was waiting for him, he retreated. The walrus repelled the predator's attack and dived under the water. There he also has an advantage in maneuverability due to the streamlined shape of his body. As a result, the predator not only had to retreat, but also run to a more reliable and thick ice. In recent decades, the jaguar's habitat has been greatly reduced. There are only a few places where a jaguar in the wild can meet its only competitor among the felines of the New World: the cougar. The rivalry between these species is very spectacular. Cougars belong to small cats because of the peculiarities of the structures of the skull and larynx. But thanks to their effectiveness and success, they were able to spread across both North and South America. They have competitors in their weight category: bears, lynxes, and wolves. However, there are not as many large predators there as, for example, in Africa or Asia. Therefore, the cougar has been able to grow significantly over hundreds of thousands of years of development. A large cougar is 1.5 times larger than a female leopard. That is, a small cat is bigger than a panther. By weight, the cougar is also significantly superior to its closest relative, the cheetah. Unsurprisingly, the impressive strength, power, and experience of the hunter allow the cougar to claim the territory of other carnivores. Although the second name of the predator is the mountain lion, over thousands of years of the species' development, these cats have descended into the mountains and now live in forests and plains. When the cougar noticed a young female jaguar, it immediately went on the attack to take over this territory. A big mistake. The jaguar is smaller than the lion and the tiger, but it is the third largest panther in the world. This predator looks more compact, but pay attention to the muscular paws and body, in which tight muscles are visible even through the spotted skin. And although the young female jaguar is smaller than the mother of the male cougar, it was not worth messing with her. After all, a jaguar is a predator with its superpowers. Just look at how a jaguar rushes straight into the water to take down a large caiman there. A capybara is watching this scene now, and she is shocked by such a show of strength. It looks impressive. The jaguar is not afraid to fight with a toothy, armored, huge reptile on its territory. The cat strikes lightning strikes at the enemy's body, stuns the caiman, and then grabs with its jaws, by the back of the head, neck from behind, and by the throat. The dumbfounded look of the capybara, which was hiding from the reptile on the shore, looks pretty funny. The beast is in shock. Probably the capybara is grateful to the jaguar for getting rid of such a dangerous predator. But after all, the enemy of my enemy is not always my friend. The power of the spotted cat delights and scares at the same time. The Amazon basin is a place with an amazing climate, where there are a lot of living creatures, and a large number of species generates high competition. Therefore, in order to survive, the jaguar had to become a super fighter, and now the cougar will feel the full power of the skills of this spotted predator. The duel of these distant relatives looks incredibly epic. A short chase ends with a frighteningly intense struggle. The cats grappled and turned into a tangle of claws, rage, fangs, and growling. Lightning strikes with paws, constant bites, grabs, throws. It seems that the cougar and jaguar demonstrate their entire arsenal. The jaguar is a female, and the cougar is a male, so the spotted cat loses in size. But the advantage in pure physical strength is clearly on the side of the jaguar. The cougar is surprised. She did not expect such huge strength from a smaller cat. The jaguar is a cautious animal. In addition, this female has kittens that need to be taken care of. Therefore, she is ready to let the cougar go. But the mountain lion considers the kindness of the jaguar to be a weakness, and again pounces on the enemy. In fact, superiority in aggression can really be an additional trump card. Except the jaguar is too strong. The female easily fights back against the cougar, avoids serious damage without problems, and even beats her opponent lying down. The cougar grins and retreats. The jaguar launches a counterattack and knocks down the cougar. The opponents disperse. The mountain lion has learned a painful lesson, and the female jaguar returns to the kittens. The rhinoceros and the hippopotamus are two rivals for the title of the second largest large animal on the planet after the elephant. The mass of an adult rhinoceros can exceed 3 tons, as well as the mass of a mature hippopotamus. It seems that these are equal rivals, which only fuels the competition between them. It is unlikely that the animals really think about titles. They just dislike each other for specific reasons. Hippos are territory animals that may or may not allow other animals to come to their reservoirs. They decided to expel this rhino. Apparently, they don't like feeling like they're not the biggest inhabitants of these places. Rhinos are not used to being pointed out and chased away from somewhere. They compensate poor eyesight with a lightning reaction. Often the rhinoceros notices the threat only at the last moment, but immediately rams the enemy and defeats almost any opponent due to its enormous strength. However, this trick won't work with a behemoth. The rhinoceros understands that it is better not to mess with these two hippos, but still does not leave and does not retreat until it is too late. Now the hippos have approached him from the shore and are pushing him into the water, where they have the advantage. The armored, powerful rhinoceros hide provides excellent protection, but then the behemoth takes overclocking and rams the enemy. Pay attention. The rhinoceros manages to deliver a powerful blow from the bottom up. This is his signature move. With a sharp horn, he could pierce the behemoth's head through and through and to deal with the aggressor with one blow. But animal rights activists sawed off the rhino horn to protect it from poachers. This made the beast unarmed against such pressure. The behemoth was hit by the blunt base of the horn, but this only angered him more. A powerful beast knocks down a rhinoceros weighing about 3 tons, drowns, and its huge jaws dig into the enemy's body. A kinsman ensures him from the back. The rhinoceros tries to keep its head above water so as not to drown. But this is the maximum resistance he can offer. An angry hippopotamus knocks a rhinoceros on the bottom. Powerful jaws bite the relatively poorly protected area under the victim's foreleg. After all, an unarmed rhinoceros should not have messed with these hippos. Cheetahs usually avoid fights with other predators. If the cat injures its paws, it will not be able to accelerate to its incredible speeds, which threatens it with starvation. Therefore, cheetahs often run away as soon as they see a threat. This is not cowardice, but pragmatism. But these two mature males are going against the rules. At night, they went on a raid on the territory of another family, which consists of less experienced and seasoned cheetahs. The brothers' rivals are a clan of young but already adult predators. Therefore, a fierce and dangerous battle begins for all sides. You definitely don't expect such rage from usually meek cheetahs, now do you? So the young predators did not expect an unprovoked attack from more experienced and aggressive relatives. And although they managed to give battle to the outsiders, the advantage is clearly not on their side. Pay attention to the tactics of the cheetah battles. Their flexible bodies, with rather large dimensions, have a relatively small mass. Their bodies are generally lean, and their limbs, although muscular, are sinewy. Therefore, cheetahs rely primarily on speed in a fight with their own kind. They constantly inflict terrible blows on each other, try to reach vulnerable parts of the body with their claws, collide, spin, and fight. Occasionally, they grab rivals with their front paws, pull the enemy's head towards them, and try to tear it with their hind paws. But more often, they just exchange punches and bites. The shrill growl, the flashing of paws and clouds of dust, and the eyes of skinny silhouettes glowing in the dark look pretty frightening. The young cheetahs escaped, but one of them was fatally injured. His relatives call him, but they will never see him again. The young predators did not know who they were messing with, but now older relatives will be treated with greater caution. It remains to be hoped that this will save their lives in the future. However, experience and size do not always guarantee victory. Here, a mature male attacked a relative. Just look at how frighteningly he steps on it, as if it were an antelope, not another cheetah. However, an unexpected meeting awaits the aggressor. The smaller cheetah turned out to be an excellent fighter. Although the aggressor took advantage of the force of the ramming attack and knocked the opponent down, the smaller individual escaped fatal damage and did not allow himself to be grabbed by the throat. An impressive exchange of blows began, in which the aggressor at first glance dominated, as he managed to hit more often. However, his opponent seems to have taken some kind of wrestling courses in the stalls. He managed to catch the enemy by mistake and delivered a terrible blow with his hind legs. This quickly cooled the ardor of the aggressor, who flew away and then got to his feet and moved away from the opponent. Such a rebuff came as a surprise to the big beast. Meanwhile, the cheetah, which has managed to protect itself, is resting and recuperating, lying on the ground. He is ready to continue with the fight, but the aggressor seems to have learned a painful lesson. The deer thought that his huge height would give him an advantage during a chase through the deep snow in order to break away from the pursuit of wolves. But the herbivore did not know who they were dealing with. Even in such conditions, wolves can chase prey for tens of miles. You see how the deer is exhausted and cannot give battle to two wolves, even despite the advantage in size. If at first glance you wonder why the deer did not fight back, now you know. The ungulate barely holds its head straight from fatigue, stress, and exhaustion. There will not even be a final fight. And why would the wolves take the risk? Deer antlers can injure them, and the more dangerous are stab wounds that can harm internal organs. The predators were lucky that it didn't come to this, and the fight ended before it started. They can only finish off the victim with a well-aimed throw at the deer's throat. Underestimating the endurance of wolves is a big mistake. A cougar attacked a young deer and managed to stop it and even knock it to the ground. But the ungulate rose, after which, unexpectedly for the predator, it turned towards him. The deer counterattacked, which the mountain lion did not expect. The cat tried to knock the ungulate to the ground again, but the deer literally began to trample the cougar and hit her on the head several times. The cougar felt like a living rug being wiped by hooves. An unpleasant experience. The predator is shocked, but now he will never underestimate this prey again. What was your most impressive case of animals fighting back against their enemies today that impressed you the most? Reply in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you more often.